Live from Hillbilly Productions and Crippled Critter Studios, it's Crippled Critter time! Alright, it's been about 20 minutes, and I got this thing slid up here, and I've got it kind of snugged up. It's not really completely tight, but it's pretty close. I'll keep it kind of loose till I get it in the air and do some adjusting. As far as setting the torque converter on the flex plate, what I normally do is I'll set the flex plate so that the bolt hole is facing this point here, and then I'll set the torque converter the same. When I slide them together, they usually go together pretty good. Just kind of iron it up. You might have to wiggle it a little bit, but you can get in here and move it back and forth, but it's already in. So what I'll do is I'll get it in the air and I'll put those bolts on kind of snug, and then I'll tighten the transmission up, and then I'll finish tightening up the torque converter. But only took about 20 minutes. I had to move it around. I had to go and find stuff and get it and all of that nature. Check this. One of the most important things, anybody who's new to working with these Escorts or any of these cars that have these types of sensors, most of your forward stuff, is that you want to make sure that this is loose. This is your speed. This is where your speedometer cable goes in, and I've got a set of these. These are parrot beaks. I got these from a Snap-on guy, and they work really good. You just want to loosen this thing up and be careful not to break it or anything, but if you don't get this loose, and make sure that it's loose before you get this in the car and get this out of here, you're going to play hell trying to get this thing out of here to put fluid into the transmission, and there's really no other way unless you've got the 5-speed, which has got that valve on the top, and you pull it out, and then you're still going to be sitting here half the day trying to put it in. But you definitely want to get this thing loose and get it up out of here. You can see they can be kind of rough, and you know your fluid levels. You can look in your manual and it'll show you where your fluid levels are based on automatic to 5-speed. You want to make sure this thing is got good teeth on it, and the teeth look decent in there. This transmission's not in bad shape. It only had about 70,000 miles on it when I got it from the guy. Somebody destroyed his car in a parking lot, and he sold me the car for $150, and it was a LXE, so it had the GT package. But yeah, you definitely want to get this loose and just kind of leave it sitting in there. If you don't want to leave it sitting in there because you're scared you'll break it while you're putting it in to the car, you can take this out and just stuff a rag in it, whatever your preference is. You always make sure everything's cleaned out. On your 5-speeds, what I normally do on these automatics, there's usually a pretty good unit in here that keeps the side gears in place. I usually take a rag and a bolt about that long on the 5-speeds. Whenever I pull one axle out before I drop the transmission, I'll take that rag and wrap it around the bolt, and I'll put it through here to hold the side gears in place, because if you don't, you get to wiggling that transmission around, those side gears will fall down in the transmission. Then you got to take the transmission apart to put those back together, which usually when I pull a 5-speed, I take it apart anyway because I rebuild 5-speeds. So I can replace the side gears, because most of the time people are beating and banging on them, and after about 120,000 miles they start to wear pretty good on that pin in there that holds them in place. But I'll do a update after I get this thing in the air and I get everything tightened up and I get ready to start putting it in the car. But I just wanted to show you this because that's really important, because like I said, that's where your fluid goes in. If you don't get that loose before you get it in there, you'll be under the car fighting with that, and it's not a whole lot of room, so you want to do that first.